These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, January 6th, day after the Celtics took down the Utah Jazz. And the day of, they take on the Indiana Pacers. A little back-to-back for the Celtics. We will have the recap for the Celtics-Pacers game in a little bit. Obviously, we don't know what happened yet because we're recording this at 2 in the afternoon. They play the Pacers later today. But before we get into any of that, before we get into the Celtics, you guys should know by now, it is time to give away some popcorn. Let's see who is winning some Inpopnito today. Again, a reminder, if you would like to win yourself some Inpopnito popcorn, comment what's poppin' on this video or send us an email and say,
notice how my
what's
bag's
poppin'.
empty.
Sam's ordering some more. Getting ready. But let's see who is winning themselves some Inpopnito popcorn today. Spin that wheel.
Who's it gonna be? Pete narrowly missed it again.
The bad beats
Back
for Pete.
brutal beats for Pete. How you like that?
Bad beats.
Good bar.
Congrats to Nathan Burns. We'll get in contact with you. And if you don't see us responding to your comments, just email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com and we'll get you linked up with our guy at Inpopnito. And a reminder to Mr. John Smyers, email us and we'll get you hooked up with some popcorn because you won last episode and have yet to send us an email. So congrats to Nathan. Sorry, Pete, again for another week of bad beats. But let's dive right back into the Celtics and we'll send it over to our future selves to recap the Celtics-Pacers game. All right. Thank you to our past selves for throwing it over to us after what was a dominant Celtics victory. Took home a win over the Indiana Pacers. Up by as many as 16 early. Pacers made their run as good offenses do, as good teams do. Pacers have been hot lately. Celtics held them off. Pacers did not hold a lead in this game despite their run in the third quarter. And then in the fourth, Celtics ballooned it back out. 19 was their biggest lead, which was in the fourth quarter. And they ended up winning the game by 17, which is bigger than any lead they had in the first half. Anyways, so great game for Boston. I was impressed with the way they held them off despite the run. It felt like they kept their composure for the most part. Weird game from the free throw line. It didn't matter in the end. Just took them a million years to get to the free throw line after some aggressive plays from the Pacers in the first half. Once they got there, couldn't make them. But regardless, big win for the Celtics, big night for the Jays. And yeah, good game. Good game.
Really, really well-rounded Celtics game, kind of, right? It felt like you were watching last year's team in the best sense of it. Kristaps Porzingis gets hurt early. Scal couldn't have been happier. Scal was having like a fucking parade on the broadcast because he was like, "Oh, Kristaps, that's not good. That's not good." Then he came back in and he got all quiet, but then he had to come back out of the game. He was like, "Oh, Drew, this is not good." He went back to the locker room, Drew. I don't know why he gets so excited about these damn injuries, but he does.
It feels like I don't know if excited is the right word. I agree that it happens, but I feel like he's just trying to be really like on top of it. Like, oh, careful, watch it. Like he's trying to be really on top of like
he just doesn't know how to act
before it happens. Yeah, but it comes off as excitement, which it's weird for sure.
Because there are times where like guys will like roll their ankle or something very, very minor. Like this is pretty serious. I mean, he had to cut, didn't look very fun to deal with or anything, and he had to come out of the game. Really didn't come back. But there are times when it's absolutely nothing, and he's like, "That guy just died. His season might be over." Like you hear that kind of thing. So anyway, after he goes out, you have to lean very heavily on both Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, just like the good old days. Celtics with only 3 guys in double figures today, one of them being Al Horford. A little bit of a throwback game. A little bit of a Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown carry job. We don't see that very much anymore with the team that we have in front of all of us now. It's just not necessary, but they were both very efficient. Tatum, 60.9% from the field. Jaylen, 65%. Tatum couldn't miss from 3. It's officially the new year, so I guess he all of a sudden knows how to make shots again. Just kind of how it seems to work with him.
Yes, it does.
Aside from that, we go down the list. Derek White got in foul trouble, so he only played 24 minutes, but team high plus 20. So,
weird night, though. Weird night for him.
Night.
He ended up shooting good, like 3 of 6 and 1 of 2 is not bad, but it just felt like all his shots were short. Like he didn't have his his
Tuckered
touch.
out, dude.
Yeah,
Back to back.
weird game. Tommy
Back to
Alter,
back.
he got some answers.
Hot seat,
What are we
Tommy
doing,
Alter.
brother? Yeah. Tatum was Tatum was insane in this game. He could not miss. It felt like he did get shots the right way to start the game. I'll say it again. Like he was getting it, ran a pick and roll with Pritchard. Pritchard hit him, and then he shot like off the catch rather than dribble. He drove a little bit early. He was getting inside. He mixed in some middies. And then once you saw him go down, it was sorry, Pacers. It's not your night tonight. I'm just gonna make everything. Took 13 threes, made 8 of them though, and that's because he was just rolling from there. Great job on the glass for Tatum too. 14 rebounds. You could see the activity trying to keep Miles Turner off there. 6 assists as well, so he was getting guys involved. He was second in plus minus at 19 on the night, one behind Derek White. Jaylen Brown also great. The threes weren't falling, but he only took 4, and he was just. I tweeted this out. Tyler Halliburton is awesome. He's great. Jaylen Brown completely exposed him on the defensive end, and like from like a serious basketball perspective, not just like saying like Jaylen Brown's so much better. Like that's gonna be a problem in the playoffs because teams are just gonna go right at Halliburton, and he's not gonna be able to do anything. And like Jaylen Brown. The Pacers had no answers. Once the Celtics got inside the paint, they were done. Like it was over. Like there's nothing they could do. And then you combine that with how hot Tatum was from deep, and like you saw it in the fourth quarter. They ran a pick and roll to get Jalen Smith on Jayson Tatum. The first time, step back 3, it's been falling all night, sunk, done. The next time they did it, like 2 seconds later, they doubled him. He just kicked it around and they got an easy bucket. Like there was nothing the Pacers could do because of how hot Tatum was and how easy they were giving up the paint touches to the Celtics. This is a great game all around. Luke Cornett, man.
This is a great game. You sound like you're.
It was great.
Cry.
It was great. It had everything. Luke Cornett you see him at the ice in the veins after the.
You had a good tweet. You're sharp. You got
I
right
did.
on the recording, and you recorded it. Excellent work, sir.
Celtics outscored the Pacers 36-25 after that moment. In case you're curious,
that is the turning point of the game, and another good Luke game. Luke just loves playing in this building, I suppose. He only had 4 points, but it felt like he was much more involved than that. He had some really big, like timely offensive rebounds. It felt like, even though let's see, did he even have? Yeah, he had 3. Okay, I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping.
No, you're right.
I did not have the box score when I said that. I was kind of worried. But he was just kind of making his presence known the way you would like him to. Not the way that you are like, why is this guy out there? But, oh, yeah, this is really good that he's the reserve big man on the Celtics. This is not bad for the guy that's supposed to back up 2 all-star caliber players. So please don't be mad at Luke Cornett anymore. Our take from earlier in the show when we did the Jake Fischer thing, which you guys will see a little later, looking great of us being like Luke Cornett rules. Also looking great, we go through and we do the preview of the next X amount of games throughout January. Good start. We were recording it and we were like, oh, this could be really bad if they lose today. We'll look real dumb. But they overall played really good. They did a great job of responding to the Pacers creeping back into the game in the third quarter. And they really left no doubt in the fourth, which is stuff of a championship team. We talked a lot about the clutch time results. I think it was part of the pod. I'm sorry, I'm kind of spoiling everything. But there are more clutch moments than crunch time. And that was a big time moment for the Celtics to step up early in the fourth and keep the Pacers at bay. They could have very easily continued to stumble, give the home crowd a little bit of juice, even though there are a lot of Celtics fans, and help this youngish team pull off the comeback, finish off what they had started. Instead, they put their foot down. Derek White comes out and makes a floater. They get going a little bit, and they find it. Tatum just is a killer in this fourth quarter. He did a great job. Big credit to Tatum. This is the 4th good Tatum game in a row, so he's officially back. I think I'll say Tatum is back.
Is it just 4?
In a row? It went Spurs, OKC, Jazz tonight.
I think he was he didn't shoot well, but I think he was good against the Lakers. I think he had a good Lakers game. Pistons was in between it. You're right. Although
Pistons was like a
I'm sorry.
weird game because he was
Yeah.
ass, but he was also good when they decided they needed to come
I
back.
think
But then he went
I
back to
think
being ass.
I think Lakers Pistons were good Tatum games, but not good Tatum shooting games, and I think there's a difference there. Because like he had 25, 8, and 7 against the Lakers. He just didn't shoot well, but he only took 6 threes. He did take a lot of threes against the Pistons, but he also had 10 assists, and I think he was doing the whole offensive hub thing. I don't know. It's regardless. It's been a very good stretch for Tatum. He's really turning it
My
around, I
line
think.
has
And
been drawn 4 straight good Tatum games.
all right. Well, we can agree to disagree as we had in the past, but this was a great game for the Celtics. Second straight night where they just came out with absolute clamps and just said, you're not scoring in the first quarter. Held the Pacers to 17 points in the first quarter, their lowest scoring quarter of the season, tied for it with the third quarter against the Celtics last time, where they also scored 17. This was the lowest points or the fewest points the Pacers have scored in a game all season
Respect.
at
Respect
101.
to the Celtics on that one.
Yeah. That's big time. Pacers shot 19% from 3, 8 of 42. Halliburton only had 7 assists in this one. They snapped Halliburton's streak of 10 or more assists, which dated back to the 13th of December.
Ooh.
So he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 straight games of 10 plus assists, and the Celtics snapped it tonight. They did a pretty good job of shutting him down. He had a rough game in this one. He was not very good. This was a great follow-up to the Jazz game. And we'll talk about your guy too, O'Shea Brissett. Couldn't hit the side of a barn. He made one of his 3, but they were all ugly. But 8 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. Good game. Another good O'Shea game.
Sad to see the threes not falling yet. But again, a lot of time left before the playoffs. Like, learning to shoot might be the easiest NBA skill to learn, but it still takes a little bit of time. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden be knocked down. With that being said, he still has work to do before he's ready to play in a playoff game. I think he does a lot of great things that would translate well to the playoffs, but you just simply cannot be a weak link on either side of the ball. Earlier, you mentioned Tyrese Halliburton. You're kind of concerned about him being able to hold up on the defensive end and getting targeted in the playoffs. The same thing can happen to somebody like O'Shea Brissett. You can just get left wide open in the corner. The Bucks did it to Grant Williams a couple years ago, and he eventually made them pay. But I don't think Brissett's there yet. He's just not. I was happy to see him take over and go to the basket, get an and one in the fourth quarter, hustling all over, making his presence known. But the number one focus for me right now is make his threes, or not even make them. It's just like, keep working, buddy. You're going to get there. Everything else is there for him to be a really, really solid, long tenured NBA player. Just going to make the threes.
I think making the threes would help, but I honestly don't think he even needs to get minutes on this team. I obviously be nice if he could, but like I think his value extends beyond the threes because he can just play in the dunker spot. He can, because he's such an elite offensive rebounder. As long as he plays there, makes the right cuts, I don't think he necessarily needs to get threes, or excuse me,
in the playoffs too,
threes.
or just throughout the regular season.
I think definitely throughout the regular season. I think it'd be harder to play him in the playoffs, but I do think there is a role for him because you don't have to play him in terms of like offensive spacing. I don't think you have to put him at the 3-point line with this team. I think he probably won't get minutes in the playoffs, but I don't think that's because of the threes. I just think they'll cut off at 8, and I don't think he's in the top, or 8 or 9, and I just don't think he's in the top 9. And I, for what it's worth, even if he was making threes, I don't think he'd be in the top 9. That's not a shot at him.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, maybe if he was shooting,
I think it's possible.
Maybe if he was shooting like 40%, but like who you putting him over? Like say it goes up to 35% on an okay volume. Who you playing him over? I'm still not playing him over Hauser, Pritchard, or Luke.
I think there would be situations where you would play him over Pritchard in a playoff game.
I disagree.
I just do. I think the size is there. I think the guard depth is there. Like if you really wanted to avoid playing Pritchard and you were like, O'Shea Brissett's really valuable, he's giving us a ton of energy and he's making an impact all over, you can stagger White and Holiday at times and just live with that being your guard rotation. It's possible. I'm not saying it's ideal, and I'm not saying, especially not right now, I'm not sitting Pritchard in a playoff game over O'Shea. But if things were to come together for him, that is the avenue I could see him cracking the top 8. Or you could do the same thing with Cornette and be like, listen, I don't know if you need Cornette in there, if you have O'Shea in there, because he's going to help hit the glass, and then one of Horford/Porzingis can also be a big body.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I just think the playmaking and ball handling is a bit more important in that spot, and I think that's why Pritchard plays. That said, It is what it is.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you get your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
I don't know what else I should say about this game. This is a great game. This is an awesome game. The Celtics killed them.
win.
I am
Good
most
start.
impressed, and I say this every time it happens because I know you are a big have the lead, keep the lead guy. The way they have been able to eat these runs by good other teams and then just get back out and storm ahead again, has been so impressive this season. Teams are going to
Agreed.
make runs, and I've said this time and time again. Whenever you talk about it, whenever anybody talks about blowing the leads, time and time again, teams are going to make runs. It's just going to happen. The way they have responded to those runs has been so impressive this season, and it is a 180 turnaround from this team we saw last year, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I think tonight's was even more impressive because they were without essentially Porzingis and Derek White because Derek White was in foul trouble. And Tatum actually got into foul trouble too.
Yep, I see what you mean.
This is not me saying Derek White had no impact. No, he just had to sit
you.
out. I was out doing the dishes at halftime and I came back with 11 minutes to play in the third quarter and I didn't see Derek White and I thought he got hurt. Turns out he just got his fourth foul.
Yeah.
But yes, impressed with their ability to hold off the big assault from the Pacers. Refs, thoughts on the refs?
Not great. It didn't matter in the end because Celtics didn't hit their free throws and they stomped them anyways. I thought both ways there was just a lot of inconsistencies. The first half, I thought the Celtics were getting killed inside a little bit too often. There was one play where Brissett and Cornette both missed shots inside, and they were just getting murdered, and there was no call. I thought there were a few plays where the Celtics fouled the Pacers, and they didn't get a call. It felt very we'll pick and choose when we want to decide to call stuff, which was frustrating. And I think both teams deserve to be mad. It didn't impact the game, so it didn't matter. But it was just, I just don't think it was a great night for the refs.
Yeah, this is one of those Celtics aren't making their free throws situations, so I don't really care if they're upset.
That's why I wasn't going to bring it up.
It's almost childish, not childish, but how you would treat a child. It's you're not earning the right to do this. You can't complain about this. You're not even capitalizing on the opportunity. What do I care? But I saw people on Twitter mad about it, so that's why I brought it up. I am not a blame the refs guy.
I think it was weird, but it is what it is. Also, just quick, shout out to the Jazz. Got stomped by the Celtics, walked into Philly up 12 with 3 minutes left.
Up
Keep it up.
14 is what
14
I'm seeing.
now.
I might be. Well, I have 339.
Oh, I've got 325,
Okay.
and they're losing that lead, and it's only 9 now. So let me shut up and let's.
Milwaukee down 12
Also
to
down.
Houston.
Yep, also a good
This
thing.
may be an ultimate Celtics day. Back-to-back
Knock on
ultimate
wood.
Celtics days.
Knock on wood would be pretty
back-to-back
cool.
days of Philly. Did the Bucks lose yesterday? Or did they not play?
I don't think they played because they played Indy 2 nights ago.
Okay, Philly, Lakers. There was another team in there that lost too, and it was kind of sweet.
The Heat.
And then
the
Heat. And then today would be Philly Bucks losing.
Hopefully.
If all stands. Pretty sick day.
Jeff Green putting up 14 off the bench for the Rockets right now. Shout out. Legend. You guys will know, obviously, by the time you hear this. But yeah, good win over the Pacers. Any final thoughts before we throw it over to our past selves?
No.
All right. We'll kick it back for the rest of the pod. All right. Welcome back. Hopefully, it was a nice, positive recap. Once again, we had a great one against the Jazz. It was such a blowout that we started talking about random stuff by the time the recap.
Yeah, it was like a little bonus pod. We just, our brains melted at the end, and we were talking about, oh, dude, Duncan's new pink velvet coffee.
Which is very good. You should still try it. I know it's a lot of calories, but it's pretty good. It looks weird, but I'm a fan.
My leg is falling apart here. The inside, right above my knee, is mad tight. It doesn't hurt, but it's just hey, buddy, you're doing too much.
I got you. That's brutal. Anyways, let's look ahead to the Celtics January. We had a commenter. I forget who it was, and apologies. Actually, you can probably find it pretty quick. I saw the
big
comments
shout out, though. As we just talked about the first of many tough games for the Celtics coming up. We're going to look at the rest of them.
It was actually Free Range People, the commenter, who was in this week's Inpopnito. He said, anyone else interested to see how this whole team holds up during the upcoming month, excuse me. They have a bunch of games that go back and forth between road and home. I feel like this is where last year's team would have fallen apart. I'm excited to see how the squad holds up. And I would agree, because it did feel like after a hot start, the Celtics did sort of fall apart. Last year, it happened on the West Coast trip. This year, they held up on the West Coast, but they still have a tough month coming up. Excuse me, I had the hiccup. So let's check out this upcoming month and sort of determine where we think the Celtics will be by the end of January. So
how many games out do you want to go? Just through the month?
Yeah, we can go through the month. We don't have to spend a ton of time on any of the games. So they've got 2 games against Indiana on the road right here on the 6th and the 8th. One tonight, one on Monday.
You guys already know if they won the first one.
Yep. And then I'll say all the games that we can go through and say win or loss. Then they got Minnesota at home. And then the next day, they have to travel from Minnesota to Milwaukee for a back-to-back in Milwaukee to play the Bucks. That's a tough one against 2 good teams. Then they come home to play Houston on the 13th. And then they go back out and get Toronto on the 15th. Then they come back home for a little 2-game stand on the 17th and 19th for San Antonio and Denver. A tough game against Denver mixed in there. Then they go back out on the road to a little Texas road trip for a back-to-back against the Rockets and the Mavs. Away, and then they travel to Miami for a game against the Heat, and then they come home to end the month for the Clippers, the Pelicans, and then a back-to-back Pelicans-Pacers at home right there. That's one Pelicans game in between there. I just said it. That's a rough January for the Celtics. It's not a very fun one. So let's go game by game, and we'll sort of I'll keep track. Let me pull up the sheets so we can keep track, and we can determine where we're at by the end of the month. So Sam, these 2 Pacers game, what are you expecting?
So I think they should win tonight, and I think they should win Monday because they're taking it seriously. Man, this is going to be fun for you guys if they lost tonight. But they are playing everybody. Like, they rested Horford yesterday so they could have him for this one. Porzingis is going to play. Right now it's 2:00, and we've seen the injury report is clean already. So we know the Celtics are for real. They're out there looking for revenge after the in-season tournament defeat. And they're there Monday, too. So neither team really gets much of an edge other than the Pacers having the home fans. So I think they should be able to rest and recover and be ready to go again against a Pacers team that doesn't play a whole lot of defense, a team that we saw the Celtics at full strength dismantle at the Garden within the first 2 weeks of the season. They won by 50. They definitely have it in them to beat this team, but Tyrese Halliburton has been playing unreal basketball. His assist to turnover has been nuts. His assist totals have been nuts. He has 60 over his last couple games. He's putting 20 assist games together out there, but I still think they can beat them.
It's crazy. I think they should. I think if they lose a Pacers game, it will be tonight as we're recording this. So we already would have known. I don't think they lose the second one. I'm going to agree and say they should win both, but I want it on the record that if they do lose a Pacers game, and I mean, by this point, you would have already heard us recap the game, so my statement here doesn't really matter. But I think if they lose, they're going to lose this one. I don't think they'll lose the second one, but they should win them both. Home against Minnesota, I can go first. They should win this game. They got punked by Minnesota last time. They couldn't close it out. I think they're going to get mad. And also, this is a very Sam take coming from me. We're at the point where don't lose at home. We're at the point where
Jackson.
It's there. It's there. You can't lose this game at home. You've already tied the record for most home wins in a row to start a season. You got to break it. I don't care. It's Minnesota. You got to win.
The Garden has become a fortress. We were on it from the jump. We have a video with it in the thumbnail. That's how high on the home court advantage we were.
That thumbnail was impossible to make, by the way, because it was not easy to find a usable picture of the Garden that I could edit out the background.
It rules that they have something going for them. This is part of what makes the regular season fun. We saw how great it was to kind of get up for all these Pistons games when they were losing, even though it was funny and it's haha, they can't win. But when there's a win streak or a losing streak at it's in the balance, everything gets a little bit more intense. These games are going to be tight. I think this Minnesota game is a very winnable game. I think they should beat them. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, I really think they should win a lot of these games. But Minnesota is a top team. They're looking down at the rest of the Western Conference. They beat the Celtics already. The Celtics will have a chip on their shoulder. That was a non-Derek White game, I believe. That was one of the ones he was out for the childbirth.
Yes. I think you're right.
So they did not have Derek White for the loss in overtime, but they still should have been able to win it. But with that being said, like, it's not like Minnesota's bums. Like, they're beating up on everybody else too. So I think it's going to be a tight one. I think you're going to have a good crowd there, but I think the Celtics should win. And please, just keep us interested, right? Like, home win streak. There's always a little bit of extra energy when everybody kind of knows about it. Even against the Jazz yesterday in the first half, everyone was juiced. I saw a tweet saying it seemed like a playoff game in there. And then obviously they were up 30 and everyone kind of stopped caring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, win. Keep the home win streak alive. The
I agree.
undefeated.
I think they should win at the Pacers. This Bucks game, now, listen, this strikes me as a game that you could look at and say, yeah, they could lose this game. I think they win this game. I think they play really well against the Bucks. I don't think they would lose this. So
I think this one feels like a scheduled loss.
Okay, so you're gonna go loss?
Yes, but once it happens, I'm gonna be like, win. I still expect them to win and put their best effort out, but it just feels like one of those games, like, you're going to be without one of your big guys, at least one of them. And you're going to have that weird, like, oh, we had to play a game the night before and travel and get on the plane and fly to Milwaukee. And we had to get in at, like, probably, I don't know, 3 a.m. and then do shoot around. Like, their whole routine's going to be off. It's going to be a really tough turnaround, I think. And Milwaukee's been playing really good ball lately, even though they got whomped by the Pacers a couple times. For the most part, they've been winning. The Celtics went like 9-1 their last 10 at one point recently, and we looked, and the Bucks were also 9-1. The Celtics did nothing wrong and did not gain any ground because Milwaukee's been playing better. They're starting to kind of figure out what it's going to take to win with Dame and Giannis playing together. They haven't been perfect. There are definitely weaknesses. Their defense isn't great. Dame is a traffic cone, and I think the Celtics can exploit that. But I think it's going to be tough with, like, you're going to be without Horford. Everybody else might be a little bit tired because, I mean, I think the two of us expect this Minnesota game to be at least competitive. So you're going to have guys out there playing. It's not going to be like what we saw against Utah last night, right? It's not going to be like, oh, yeah, you guys don't have to play the second half. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they win this game.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have a good feeling. Then they come back home to play the Rockets. I win. It's gonna be a lot. I did go through and put all mine down while you were talking, just so I could have my reference here. Spoiler alert: I don't think the undefeated home streak lasts the whole month. However, this is not where I think it ends. So I think they'll beat the Rockets, and I assume you think the same.
Yeah, I think they should beat the Rockets. I think the little wrinkle to this is the Ime return. I think his guys like playing for him. I think that's why you've seen Houston take a fair amount of a jump this year, even though they did make improvements and they brought in Van Fleet and Dylan Brooks, and they both been playing pretty decent ball. And they drafted a pair of rookies that both could have been picked at number 4, and they got them both. They got Whitmore and Thompson.
I don't know how much Whitmore's been playing, but
he played the other day. Super cool dunk.
I believe it. He has been good. Yeah, he's only played in 9 games, but he has been playing as of late.
Yeah.
And his splits in those 9 games are 54-43. So he's shooting pretty well.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think Houston will have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, but I do think the Celtics should win this.
Yeah.
Be serious.
I agree. Okay, this Raptors game. Sam, what do you think?
Raptors, have they lost since everyone started playing for them?
I don't think so.
They beat Memphis, but I don't know if they played a second game.
They did. They played. I was about to say this. I have been watching to fall asleep. Sorry, they lost to the Kings last night, but it was a very competitive game. They lost by 5.
Respect gone.
I will say, I have been starting to watch some like highlights of games to go to sleep. NBA puts these things together on League Pass. You can watch no, not even like it's a 40-minute one, but it's every possession, so I can watch the misses too, which I like. I don't like to just watch the main basket.
That is cool.
And it just so happens the 2 that I've watched have been Raptors Grizzlies and Raptors Kings, mostly because I'm just intrigued. RJ Barrett's looked really good. Like, he looks a lot more aggressive with the freedom. I don't know why I have a bad feeling that the Celtics might fumble this game. It's just
I don't know why. Crazy at all.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna lose this game per se, but I think it's gonna be one of those games. It's gonna be a dogfight because you have a Raptors team. You've brought in some new pieces. They're younger now. They have Quickly. They have Barrett. Now they have Scotty Barnes, who's been there. And those 3 guys kind of have a feeling that they're part of the team's future. They're probably a little bit more comfortable, and they've been playing decent ball as a trio. Now, Toronto has a great home crowd too, and the Celtics being one of the better teams in the league, the best team in the conference, are going to have a target on their back. Young teams tend to get up for these games. If the crowd's behind them, they're going to be even tougher to beat. But I still just think the Celtics outsize and out-talent them. And the size thing makes it really hard for me to see the Celtics losing to them. Plus, they have Jakob Poeltl out there.
Yeah, I believe it. I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about this game, so I think I'm gonna go loss. I should be wrong. They should beat this Raptors team. I just have a weird feeling. Like at that point, they would have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They would make it 8
six
straight.
in a row.
No,
6, right? 6.
They
including
swept them
Utah.
last year.
2, 3. Sorry, I'm talking about on the schedule. Like that would be their. They would have won 6 games in a row. And with what I've got coming up, it would be like a long. And I hope they make it a super long streak. I just think there'll be a loss in there. I just have a weird feeling that after going back to back Minnesota, Milwaukee, then back home to Houston, then traveling out to Toronto, I just think there could be some weird vibes in the air with the Raptors.
Not crazy,
especially. And it shouldn't matter because they're just better, but especially with the fact that they haven't necessarily seen this team yet, and who knows if Siakam's even on the team by that point. So like it'll be a new look that I don't know, weird vibes. Anyways, coming back home to play the Spurs, you beat the Spurs.
Win.
Period. You win.
I know this is going to be your big Celtics lose circle jerk for Jokic, so go ahead.
So listen, I had this as an L to lose Jokic, and then you said lame, and in my head I'm like, you know what, that is fucking lame. They should win this game, and I put it back as a win.
Let's go. We're back in.
They shouldn't lose at home, and I know as the realistic one here that it's not realistic to expect them to go undefeated at home this season, and I don't think they will. But I'm gonna put them all as until they lose at home. I'm gonna put every single fucking home game as a win. So this is
I respect that.
So I'm putting it as a win.
Denver's been playing good, and I think they're going to get up for this game, so I think you're going to have a tough challenge. Like, this won't be an easy walk in the park win. Yeah. But you are still, like, undefeated at home. The crowd has been juiced. From the very first preseason game, the atmosphere has been unreal. The fans are ready. The team is looking good. There's no reason why the Celtics should not put on a clinic and just continue to play well on the parquet. There's no reason. They just look great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Win. Then they've got Rockets on the road. I have it as a win.
Win.
Thoughts? Okay. We'll go with it. Then they've got Dallas on the road.
Oh, that's ass.
I have it as a win. But it is
8:30 start is tough.
It is ass. This is going to be a really tough game.
I think they're going to win.
Okay.
I don't think Dallas is very good.
I have Miami on the road as a loss. I think they lose that game, unfortunately. That's a tough one. I think they'll lose. I'll put it this way. I think they lose one of this Houston, Dallas, Miami on the road away stretch. And I don't know which one it is. I think it'll be Dallas or Miami. And I went with Miami. Actually, no, I changed my mind. I think it'll be Dallas because I think they hate the Heat enough and Luka has their number. So I wanna retract my.
They should hate Kyrie, but it's a big buddy league.
I think they dislike the Heat and they don't want to lose on national TV. And Luka historically has had their number at least once a year, and so I think it'll be in Dallas.
Did they sweep Dallas last year?
It's a good question. I could look.
I think they did.
I think they'll lose one of those two games, and I'm gonna change it to Dallas. Actually, I think. Yeah, let me double check.
I think they did because they had the first one was a game at the Garden, close. And Tatum like pinned Luka off the glass. Then there was a Jaylen dunk that was really loud on the other end to kind of seal it. That was awesome.
They won by 13 in January, and then they won by 29 in January. Sorry, they won by 13 in November, and then 29 in January. Yeah, they swept them.
Yeah. So maybe they'll lose. I don't know about Miami. I feel like that is a losable one, but then Miami's just not like a regular season threat. So who knows? But they did get up to play the Celtics earlier this year when they were playing, what was it, the home opener? And it was pretty close, like pretty competitive. Miami didn't even have Butler playing. I don't think Hero played. Oh, Hero did play, but he played well. There was somebody else they were missing. Might have been Caleb Martin. And it was like, wow, like they're really just going to continue to be a pain in the ass. I think Bam's going to be a problem. So I can see it. I think they're better equipped to give the Celtics trouble than Dallas is.
So are you still going win-win?
I'm going to go win, but I think it's going to be close. I'm not giving you a loss for the rest of like what's on the screen. Just telling you now. The Milwaukee one is in Minnesota maybe are the only two Denver's tough. But like the ones that just jump out to me are those two.
Okay, well then we can roll there because I don't have any more losses either. I think win Clippers, win Pelicans, win Pacers at home.
Yeah,
so
just
we'll
be
leave
serious.
it there.
That's really all we ask.
I will say, so that means you have them at 13-1 in the rest of January, and I have them at 12-2, which
Yeah,
is
easy work.
high expectations.
No, it's not. Just
it
be
is-
serious. Like, we're not really asking that much. Just win games. You're the
That's-
best team in the league. Just beat everybody.
That's a lot. I think it is a lot. I will say the one I have, so I have little like parentheses with a potential L. I think the worst they could go. So what is it? 12-2, 3-5. I think 9-5 is the
Oh,
worst.
that'd be
and
ass.
that would be pretty bad. And the ones I have it as would be Bucks, Nuggets, Heat. Are the ones that I didn't say L's that could be L's. And also context, I said Raptors is going to be an L, so that one should probably be a win. But I just have a bad feeling. So
Celtics never
we'll
lost, undefeated.
We'll see. Tough January. We spent longer on that than I thought we would, but that's good.
That's okay.
All right.
This next thing won't take long. We're gonna be like, duh, of course we knew that, and then we're gonna move on.
Next thing you got is Jake Fischer, friend of the pod, on Celtics trades. Now, for the entirety of forever, we have been on this podcast saying the Celtics can't do anything. And Jake Fischer, very smart man, very sourced guy, very, very intelligent basketball person. In Boston, this is a quote from Jake Fischer's article. In Boston, rival executives are prepared for the Celtics to explore bench upgrades and depth additions behind arguably the league's best top six. Boston is expected to keep reserve center Luke Cornett, who has many fans among Boston Celtics staffers, past his upcoming guarantee date of January 10th. The other non-guaranteed veteran players on the Celtics all hold the likelihood of remaining in Boston for this foreseeable future as well, if only his valuable roster spot and tradable salary for the Celtics to play with, in addition to a $6.2 million trade exception. Basically saying they're keeping everybody. Like,
cry louder.
They're gonna look, but there's not much going on. Like, the exception is really it, and we've literally
The
detailed
exception sucks, dude.
every single possible possibility
Also,
we've talked about.
I saw somebody post this, and I wholeheartedly agree. You're looking for more big forwards. You should have just kept Grant.
Well, I don't know if he counts as big. He is small. He's very short.
But they probably want the size and defense to handle some of the bigger players they're going to have to defend. And they made this mess of a trade exception when they could have just had Grant's $13 million salary to dick around with if they wanted to make moves that way. They would have just given them way more flexibility. I know money is a thing. I know the CBA is a thing, and I know that's probably why they did it. But I just can't. Like to me, that's just such a big L. And I know Grant probably wanted to leave and have more opportunity because when Porzingis joined, it just looked like there wasn't going to be time for him. And I still don't know how much he would have played. Maybe 15 to 20 minutes. They would have maybe found a way to get him in there, and he kind of like stunts Hauser's growth if you want to like look at that. But they could have just had like more salary to play with. They could have had the size they were looking for. It just seemed like an unnecessary let him walk move. I didn't like it at the time. I understood it from a him perspective, but from the team perspective, just like keep everybody. Why? Why not? It's a free cap slot.
I mean, we all know that I loved Grant. I get it because of the CBA and the money perspective. Like it is tough. They already are going to be very pressed up against that
War
luxury
criminal
tax,
silver
etc.
strikes again
for multiple years. But it is what it is. But yeah, basically, there's not much the Celtics can do in terms of trades. But anyways, all right, let's move into the email check-in. Let's see what y'all have to say for us.
Pull up the emails. I'll pull up the background, and we will.
Sounds good. We have lots of emails today, starting with from a couple days ago, Gerald Colston. Shout out, Gerald. Explanation. What's popping? My last email, I believe, might have been not clear enough. This is what he said. The Thunder loss was terrible, I think. I appreciate you guys expressing your opinion. Love hearing from you guys. I was saying mainly about the Golden State Warriors loss. I feel like that would have been a statement win, even more than the Timberwolves and Thunder. I understand they can't win every game during the season. However, I really wanted them to beat the crap out of them. They did have a great Western stretch and dominant wins, especially against the Lakers, which I love. Appreciate you guys keeping for everything. Keep it up. Thank you. And yeah, I mean, I think everyone always wants the Celtics to beat the Warriors because of what happened in the finals a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And that I'm not saying that wasn't a bad loss. I think that was a much worse loss.
It was an awful loss
than the Thunder. But in the grand scheme of things, I look at the West Coast trip as a W, as much as that game sucked.
I said it when we did like they should win this many games out of that stretch. And I was like, if you beat the Lakers, you get a little bit of wiggle room. Get a mulligan. Yeah. And they beat the shit out of the Lakers on Christmas. They melt down against the Warriors, but They earned it by beating the Lakers. It's not all I wanted, but it was a very big, important piece for me. And they
Yeah.
did it. But good job.
Yeah, agree. Next one is from Gerald again. What's poppin'? Let the debate begin. What's up, boys? Hopefully all is well. I have a question for you guys. It's about Sam's boy, Tyrese Halliburton. I like him too. Who's playing really well this season? Would you guys trade D. White for Tyrese Halliburton? I know it's a tough question for Jack. I'm sorry. Obviously, you have to include more in the trade, probably like Horford/Sam. However, would you guys do this trade? No. And I have an explanation why. I think Halliburton would be a good fit on this team. However, I think you almost run into the situation where you have somebody who needs the ball in his hands too much for a team with Tatum and Brown. And I know everyone likes to talk about, take the ball out of their hands, let them play off the ball. But realistically speaking, they're going to have the ball in their hands at the end of games. And I think Halliburton can play off the ball, but I just don't think it's where he's best. And even more importantly, and I assume this is where you'll probably go to while you're debating, the defense, man. The defense would take a massive hit. Like Halliburton's just not a great defender, and Derek White is an all defensive caliber defender. And as good as the Celtics offense is, and it would still be good, I think Derek White is a better catch and shoot threat than Tyrese Halliburton, which is important. And I also think he's not even close, miles better as a defender, which would help. So as crazy as it is, no. And then when you add in the fact that Halliburton's going to want a max versus Derek White's, like, it's still going to be a lot of money, but not a max. I just don't think it makes a ton of sense. So no, as crazy as
I'm kind of on the same page. At first, I would have been like, yes, as the Pope Catholic. But in terms of fit and team chemistry and defense, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, there's no reason to go out and do something like that. I know it's a hypothetical, and I know it's like a kind of a good email considering, they're about to play the Pacers twice, or they've already played them once when you're listening to it. But there's just no need to shake up the team. Like, we've talked about trades for the last 2-3 months, and we're just like, don't pull any pieces that are important because you're winning a lot of games more than anybody else. You're playing well. You look like you're very connected as a team despite the moving parts of the summer, and that's great. So just roll with the guys you have.
Yeah, I agree. It is interesting, though. I do love Halliburton. Next thing. From Ryan Hall. Trades. I've been thinking of what the Celtics could do to beef up this roster because we only have a small window. Some cheap players I like are Cam Thomas, who's only getting paid $2 million this year, and I believe $4 million player next year. We can talk about it. Let me read the email first. I can't even see your face, Sam, but I know it's doing stuff. Another guy I like is Vasily Micic, a multiple-time EuroLeague champion and EuroLeague MVP, so he has championship experience. The only problem is I don't know how much OKC wants to give him up, so he could be pricey. He's making between $7 and $8 million for the next 3 years. Also, I think this could be a shot in the dark, but I have to think he's cheap. He's on a two-way contract, but his name is Henry Drell. He's 6'9", forward from Estonia. He's an offensive talent and a knockdown shooter. Thoughts? Thanks. Ryan H. aka UFC Dana White. Oh, Ryan Hall is UFC Dana White. I didn't know that, but that's there we go. Okay, let's go one by one. Cam Thomas, Nets aren't trading Cam Thomas. There's no way. Like, I just don't think that's a guy they're looking to trade. Vasil Micic, I don't know how much he makes, but from 7 to 8, you said it looks like he doesn't fit into the TPE.
I also
and at that point,
well, I know he joined the Thunder over the summer, so it's like not like it's
Yeah.
not like he's been there a while and the experiment isn't working or whatever.
He makes $7.7 million, first of all, and his shooting splits are 30-21. So I don't know if that would be the best fit for Boston, especially considering he's turning 30 in a few days. I just don't know if that's what they're looking to add right now. So I'd probably say no to him. And then Henry Drell, unfortunately, you can't trade two-way players. I don't think that is a legal thing.
I don't believe you can either.
I like Henry Drell. Weirdly enough, I know him because I cover the Bulls and he was on the Bulls summer league team. So I watched him. He's all right. He doesn't really do much outside of shoot the ball. Okay. And he's not even shooting the ball very well this year. I don't know. He is very much, in my opinion, a worse Drew Peterson, realistically, from what I've seen. So,
that says a lot.
I don't know about those. I like the concept and I like the idea. I like the idea of Micic, especially because I do like, adding a veteran. I just don't know if he's the guy.
I just think like of the teams that are listed, Chicago is definitely one that's like going to be willing to sell. Brooklyn probably not because they don't have their own pick. And OKC is definitely not going to be looking to sell just because they've been playing so well. They might be looking to add, but I don't know what the Celtics are going to be able to do for them. So I just don't think it's all that realistic. And Cam Thomas is not a guy that the Nets are going to give up, like you
Yeah.
said.
Also, for what it's worth, you mentioned the Bulls. Unfortunately, I didn't realize this. On December 20th, so a couple weeks ago, Torrey Craig ruled out 8 to 10 weeks. Disaster.
I think I saw something that was like he might come back sooner than expected.
It was him. I was talking to Bobby Kurisky about it, and he said, "Yeah, I heal quick." That was the extent of he might come back. He's just like, "Yeah, no,
He
my
does.
body
He
heals
probably
fast."
he knows his body better than anybody.
That's just an all timer. All
I
right.
heal quick. He's like, please get me off of this team. You know how mad he had to be, like when he realized he was like, damn, like I might not get traded now.
I mean, I'd still trade a second or two for him, and just hope he comes back.
Yeah,
Especially because he's under contract next year too, so extra salary.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan, for the email.
Thanks, Ryan.
We appreciate it. From RJ, what's poppin'? The worst 26 and 17 in the league. Warning you guys, with an extra day off to look at the Thunder game and the season overall, I commented on a couple items that Celtics Twitter and even some analyst pundits dwell on over much. First, our losses, all 7 of them, a hideous, horrible, ruinous amount that are still fewest in the league. But ignore that. They are so horrible because they've all been by blowout margins. 3 points twice, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, and 2 double-digit losses. 10 to the Pacers, which was really 7 because Buddy Hield hit a 3 at the end of the game. And by 17 to Orlando. By comparison, the Timberwolves, the only other team with less than 10 losses, only have 2 losses in the single digits, and the other 7 have been 10 points or more. My point here is that even though the Celtics have lost, even when the Celtics have lost, which is rarely, they've been in the games. As to PTTQSD, post-traumatic third quarter stress disorder, Celtics analysts need to use some meditation techniques or counting to 20 before writing a tweet or other calming measures. The C's have retired that one. Even though the Thunder took Boston apart in the third quarter of their game, it was just that, the Thunder executing at a high level and the C's getting outplayed rather than the C's underperforming and staying in a funk. Yes, the third quarter results sucked, but the Celtics didn't let themselves get sucked under. I know it's easy to look back on the past 3 years and go, when does the anvil fall on us this time? But if we look at this year's team on its own merits and weaknesses, I think we all have a much more enjoyable season. We will all have a much more enjoyable season to appreciate how special the 23-24 squad is. Be well, RJ. Yeah, I think most of the losses have been not as bad this year. There's still a couple of rough ones sprinkled in, like the Warriors and the Hornets. But for the most part, I don't think it's been an effort issue. I think it's just been an execution issue, which weirdly enough, I think is better because you can fix
Would you
that.
rather have blowout losses or close ones?
Close ones, and I know you're going to say blowouts, but close ones. I will say though,
for me,
I think the context of the close loss matters. Like if you're
Sure.
if you're up like the Warriors game, then that's
Or
a
the
bad
Hornets.
close loss, or the Hornets game. That's why I said those two. But like the Timberwolves and the Thunder losses, like you were fighting those games, and it just came down to a bad third quarter, or even just like they played great in the third quarter and you had a couple defensive lapses, or in the Timberwolves game, some poor late game execution. Again, I don't think effort was the issue, and I'd rather that. And if that's the case, I'd rather the close loss because it shows you were in it.
I'm not gonna harp on like the early season ones just because I think they were still getting it together. I don't think the Thunder loss was that bad because they were kind of getting blown out.
Mhm.
The Warriors one was ass.
Yeah.
But going forward, I would prefer that they win the close games. I don't think anybody feels any different, but those are very important to me. Like if you're only blowing teams out, which this year's team, it's a little different. They have won a fair share of close games, which is good. But they've also like beat the brakes out of a lot of teams. So when like you're never in a close game and then like it feels that way at least, and then you start losing the close ones you're in, it's like not a good feeling. Is the point?
They're
But
11 and
again,
6.
this year they've done better. Like they started the season with a close win. They beat the
11 and
Heat in a
6.
semi-close game. Yeah, like they've done okay. It hasn't been as bad as it has been years past. If I get the words out.
Mhm. And for what it's worth, if you want some fuel to hate on the Sixers a little bit more, they're 5-7 in their clutch game, so that's pretty funny. All right, next thing we got.
And one of them was the Celtics when they were up a zillion and then almost lost.
Mhm. Next one, we got RJ again. What's poppin'? The grind begins now. Morning, guys. If you thought August was the dog days of the offseason, January through March is the in-season slog. By this point, we've pretty much seen what each team is capable of, no matter how much Sam wishes otherwise. His Pistons are going to continue to play more like the first syllable of their nickname rather than mount a playoff run. Teams are getting injured and suspended. Players back. Getting injured or suspended players back might have a bit more of a pulse, but Marcus John, the Grizzlies, still more likely to remain outside of the play-in. Sorry, Jack. Tough. Teams that are around 500.
Get to it.
It's true. Teams are around 500 are going to remain around 500, while the upper echelon teams are fairly safely ensconced in the penthouse. Trades, which normally give us a spark in January, February, seem less likely to take place. I disagree. I think there'll be a lot of trades. The new CBA makes it harder to find landing spots for someone like Zach LaVine. Even at that, it's still Zach LaVine. Maybe Toronto finally bundles Pascal Siakam. We've heard some more gossip around Andre Drummond so far. Heck, has anyone heard a good DeMar DeRozan rumor? In theory, the Magic, Pacers, and Cavs should be joining the Knicks in trying to shore up their rosters both for this year and years to come, but crickets. No louder on this side of the Mississippi with the Mavs, Rockets, Suns, and Warriors all silent. Lakers are connected to any and all big names, which makes the rumor mill useless, and Danny and the Jazz never give a hint. I think it comes back to the unintended consequences of the new CBA. It used to be that surviving your own stupidity was just a 3-team trade away. Now teams might be learning that the guy you traded for 2 years ago or signed an extension in the summer is less wings of hope and more albatross around your franchise's neck. Good news for us, Celtics still on the best record in the league and are playing such good basketball that our off days are spent wondering possible upgrades over Delano Banton, Cornette, or Brissett. Let's enjoy that. Be well, RJ. I think there'll be actually a decent amount of trades this year, in my opinion. I don't know, though. But
feels like there's a lot of in-between teams and their decisions to be made. So I think that goes towards your point.
Yeah.
Like a team like the Raptors has clearly made up their minds. So I think Siakam will be on the move. He doesn't seem to be someone that's part of their future, even though he wants to be, which is never how it goes. And the LaVine thing is chalked. Even if nobody wants him, it doesn't feel like he has a future in Chicago either. So something's going to have to give.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
As far as the Celtics go, keep winning, because when they lose, even if it's just once, all of a sudden people don't care anymore, which sucks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they lose one game and then no one's watching the shows.
Tough. From Bob Higgins. I don't believe we've seen an email from him. Maybe you have. Maybe it's been a while, but potential trade target. Gentlemen, over approximately the last year, I've been tuning into your HBTC on YouTube. I enjoy your banter very much. Thank you. Over the last month or so, I've been waiting to hear a certain player's name mentioned as a possible trade target. I know Brad Stevens just said he is targeting a big win, but I still think they should be looking at their depth at center. No, not Drummond. He is a guy in his 4th year in the league. He just turned 26. Long 7-footer with a pretty good frame, similar to Keita, but I think at this stage more experienced and a little bit better for now. Solid defender, runs the floor well and rebounds. I think of his offense within 12 feet. Over the last 2 years, he's averaged 20 minutes a game, 8.5 points, 68% from the field, 75 free throw, 9 rebounds, and 1 block per game. Cherry on the cake, he's out on a 3-year, $5 million a year contract that doesn't expire until 25-26. Looks like you could put him and Keita together to pound some guys like Embiid, Davis, Lopez, or Joker for 20 minutes without worrying about fouling, since they would have 10 fouls to use. Who is the guy? Nick Richards, backup center on the Hornets. How many second-round picks would Brad have to give up to get the guy? That's my suggestion. Keep up the good work. Bob from Medford. I think I've mentioned him before.
You have mentioned Nick Richards.
I like Nick Richards. I think he's a good player. I think he is similar to Keita. I think he makes fine money where he'd fit in the TPE and could be tradable moving forward. I'd love it if they went out and get him. My only concern is, look at this. Hold up. Who's this on the thumbnail? Let's take a peek.
Jack has had enough of the disrespect.
Look at that. Look at him right on the thumbnail, right in the middle, right here.
Right in the middle.
Me. No, but I'd like Nick Richards. I think he'd be solid. I think they're happy with their big man rotation right now, to be honest. So,
me too. My mom's from Medford though, so shout out, Bob.
Shout out.
I figured I'd leave this one for you because you've talked about Nick Richards quite a bit.
He's good. I mean, he's averaging 9 points, 7 rebounds, shooting 70% from the field this year and 1.3 blocks a night. Like, he's a good player. He's 26, so you could see why the Hornets would maybe want to move on from him. But I mean, he's started half their games for them this year. It's just Mark Williams is better, so he's going to get most of those opportunities. But I'm a big fan of Nick Richards. I liked him. He was really rough the first couple of years, but he's sort of come into his own lately. So yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
Sounds like Rob.
Yeah, kind of. What's poppin'? 218 from RJ. Evening, fellas. That was a fun antidote to the Thunder game. Rewatching the start of the game, the first 2 minutes, 18 seconds were beautiful team basketball. Even after the initial turnover, Tatum hustles to block the layup. Jaylen contests another shot at the rim. Offense, the first 10 Celtics points spread among all 5 starters. And when the Jazz try to throw a zone at them, JT steps. Fun antidote. I see. Sorry. I thought we were talking about the Thunder game. And when the Jazz try to throw a zone at them, JT steps to the high post and quickly reroutes the pass from Holiday to D. White for an open 3. Later in the first, JT gets good as he gives, making a tidy corner 3 off a feed from KP. I got to give Brissett some love and Hauser for making 2 floor burn plays. Fun fact, when Drew Holiday hit the 3 to give the Celtics their biggest lead on the night at 36, he also put the C's up by a factor of 3-1 at 54-18. Don't see that every day. Chauncey. For the front half of back-to-back, it was lovely to see no one log more than 26 minutes. See if we can take out the Pacers without the tournament floor. Be well, RJ. Yeah, I mean, Jazz game was as good as you can get.
You know what's funny is like they did triple up the Jazz yesterday, and I saw Keith tweet about it. Yesterday was also the old 3-for-1 All-Star vote.
Tripled them up.
3-for-1. This All-Star campaign has gone to a new level. They're actually playing to try and be All-Stars, which is actually what they're supposed to do, but it's come full circle.
You love it. You love to see it.
Tell Scal about the 3-for-1.
Last email from RJ, late night edition. Friday night, I stayed up to catch the recap and it dropped at 2 a.m. West Coast time because why not? Jesus Christ, RJ. That's fucking crazy. He's talking about our
crazy.
recap.
You were up till 5.
I guess. I was not up till 5.
You are often.
Not often. Don't be ridiculous. Watching more of the game on repeat, I was curious to see which of the deep bench guys had the best audition for their opportunities. As you mentioned, none of them wowed anybody with their shooting. Brissett, Stevens, Fee, and Banton launched to combine 1 of 10. Brickfest, Steve was the only one to hit, and he shot 1 of 7. Or 1 of 6, sorry. One of those two. Stevens had one sequence where it looked more like he was passing the ball to himself off the backboard from 26 feet out. He did get a follow-up basket out of it, so winning strategy that preserves the integrity of the game. I did notice in the second quarter, with about 3 minutes left, Brissett went over the top of screens on 2 consecutive plays that led to easy baskets of Kessler and Markkanen. When KP was at the line, Tatum subbed back in for him, and one of the assistant coaches, Charles Lee, I think, met him before he sat down to say something to him. My take/guess is that consistent defensive execution will earn any of the new bus boys more regular rotation time. And one other takeaway from the fourth quarter audition reel is that the last time the Celtics scrubs had some serious rum and looked this janky was their early season blowout against the Warriors. They followed that up with a solid Geno's time performance and their blowout win of the Pacers. Here's hoping the pattern holds. Be well, RJ. I will say about that Brissett over the top of screens thing, I wonder how much of that was him just not listening versus him just doing what the defensive scheme calls for and just not working in those spots. But I don't know. We'll see.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, RJ. Appreciate everyone who sent us in emails. Make sure to send us some more and say what's popping for a chance to enter. Let's move to the NBA section of the show and start with Marcus Smart. So Marcus Smart recently talked about the consequences of the Ime Udoka firing.
It was technically not the NBA section, but whatever.
Oh, well,
it
was
matter.
After the anything after anything after the email I consider. You're right. Anything after the email I usually count as NBA. So my bad. I wasn't aware. Marcus Smart said, quote, "It definitely put a dent in us. We were on a high of making it to the finals and coming up short. We were expecting after a full season under him to do this again and really get into it. And we just didn't get that chance. And when you get a taste of something like that, it's hard not to want it. And then when you don't get it anymore, it's like, dang, what happened? What could have happened? What do we do?" And it definitely put a dent in us, which, I mean, makes sense, right? Like, yeah.
We all kind of knew that, but it's funny you didn't mention Joe. No mention of Joe. Did they hate each other? Many are asking.
I don't think so. I just think Joe wasn't part of the question.
But anyways, big shout out to Marcus because his 29 points and 8 threes helped to down the Lakers, who are now 3-10 since winning their Mickey Mouse in-season tournament, fake tournament. And things are not doing too well over there. So this was a wild game. Taylor Jenkins ran out onto the court. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, go on Worldwide Bob's Twitter and you look for it.
Okay.
So it was close through 3 quarters, and I guess the Grizzlies just stomped them because I went to bed at like midnight and it was 94-94. But at one point in this game, I think it was Jaren Jackson and LeBron dove for a loose ball, and they were kind of like tangled up weirdly where like somebody could have got hurt or did something dirty. And then Taylor Jenkins just went flying out there like he was Nick Nurse. And then Taurean Prince dribbles into him on purpose so he can like be like, why is he on the court? I think if you scroll up, it has the video.
I don't see maybe it's down. I'll find it. I'm sure I can find it somewhere on Twitter, but that is crazy. What even happened? Do you know the context of who did something dirty or etc.?
They were tangled up like diving for a loose ball. I don't remember who it was, but it looked like somebody got caught on somebody pretty much.
I think I found it.
And Jenkins was none too pleased.
Let's see what he did. I assume this is it.
This has got to be it. Yep, this is it.
So he's probably mad at LeBron there.
LeBron kind of, he like rolls back onto him and he hit him.
That is crazy.
This is unbelievable.
Tory Prince did follow him. That
No,
is
he did it on purpose, which is smart.
Also, I am not always a fuck LeBron guy. He did just hit him in the face. Look
Get
at this. Watch
ready.
this. Watch him. He just watch this. He
Yep.
just fucking
No, it's okay. Draymond did that.
True. Got suspended.
This is going to be a nice little LeBron everybody stomping on him while he's down, 5-10 minutes. Get ready.
Before we get into that,
yeah,
we can do our NBA standings checking after LeBron. I guess. Go ahead, rock with your LeBron hate. I'm with it.
So the Lakers have been a mess, as we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Darvin Ham might not be all that safe. The first domino has fallen. The first, who's it going to be? It's definitely not LeBron's fault guy is going to be Darvin Ham, it would appear. Jake Fischer reports there is a lot of chatter from people around the organization that he's not the guy that's going to be able to get this thing over the hump. The noise is very loud. There's a lot of people very frustrated. Prior to last night's loss, Darvin Ham addressed the media, and he said this: "I'm solid. My governor," which is always weird that they call them governors, Jeannie Buss, the boss lady, our president, Rob Pelinka, we're all aligned, all of us. As long as they're not saying it, I guess I'm good, which I know how they feel about me and the situation we're currently in." He sounded a little different after the loss. After the loss, he said, "I'm tired of people living and dying with every game we play. This is a marathon." I don't think they're living and dying with every game you play. It's just you're under 500. So actually, they're not happy that you've won less games than you've lost.
It may be a marathon, Darvin Ham, but if we want to treat this as a marathon and each game is a mile of the marathon, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then in 9 out of your last 11 miles, you've fallen on your face because you're 2-9 in your last 11 games.
Yeah, they've not treated this as if it's a marathon. They actually treated it as if it was a 100-meter dash, and now they're all tuckered out. They don't know what it takes to run distance. I do.
Bad. Really bad. So wait, how many? Okay, so what is the Lakers' record this season? Because they went undefeated in the in-season tournament. They're 17-19, and 6 of those wins are regular or in-season tournament game wins because they count towards it. So outside of the in-season tournament games, they are 11-19. Thoughts?
Yes.
That's crazy.
They're not good.
I
didn't think they were good coming into the season.
They're 11th in the West. They're officially out of the top 10.
It's great to see. And, because his team lost, one thing LeBron did say, he was like, "We suck right now."
Mm-hmm.
Interesting that he would use "we," very off-brand. But he was in not the best mood yesterday. And as we all know, because all the major reporters retweeted it, Ricky Rubio has retired. He cites mental health as the reason he is stepping away from the league. And he's played 12 seasons anyway, so he's had plenty of time in the NBA. But Rubio, one of the biggest professionals ever to come out of Spain, of course, is the Gasol brothers, but he's up there too. And a journalist who has clearly traveled from afar to do a story on what Ricky Rubio left as his impact on the NBA asked LeBron about Rubio retiring after the loss. And we do have the clip here.
I got it.
LeBron was a dick. He was an asshole on brand. He was none too pleased. Here we go.
I'll play the audio for you.
Ricky Rubio announced his retirement from the NBA yesterday. What do you think about the career that he has had in the NBA?
Pause it. Any normal person, you can just be like, I played against Rubio plenty of years. He had great vision or whatever you want to say about him. Just give him something to put in his fucking article.
Through the first, how long is this clip? This clip is 38
seconds. Yeah.
For the first 30 seconds of this clip, I think LeBron gives the perfect answer. He's obviously mad after a loss, so you can be a little upset. That's fine. And you can textualize, "Sorry, Ricky, I'm upset right now. Nothing against you." It's the last 8 seconds that make him a dick in this clip. So I'll play.
Hit play.
You guys can understand.
I'm not really in the mood to answer that question, but I respect Ricky. Congratulations on a hell of a career. And if I don't see him sincere when you see this video, it's because we got our ass whooped again, and I apologize. So it was actually bad timing on the interviewer asking me this question. It's not me, Ricky. So congratulations.
Even when he's giving an asshole answer, he has to throw somebody under the bus. You're muted.
Sorry. I said there's just no need. Like, you can understand why he's mad. You can understand why he's contextualizing. Sorry, Ricky, like, if I'm mad, it's nothing against you, blah, blah, blah. Don't say fuck the interviewer. Like, this is probably his only chance to ask you a question. Like, just don't be an asshole.
He's just doing
like,
his job.
So lame, man.
Like, he has clearly traveled from afar to do this story on Ricky Rubio in his career. And that's the treatment you give somebody. Wow.
Yeah, that's whack.
I don't know. The two of us are always going to take the side of the interviewer because we've kind of, well, I guess technically we've both been there now, but like it's not easy. Like when you're putting a positive story, by the way, together, like you want to have some material from somebody that's an expert or involved with a situation. So you have to ask questions like that. If you're LeBron, would you rather him be like, hey, you guys suck? What's up? Why do you suck?
Listen, I was, like I said, I was fine with the answer. I understand why LeBron's frustrated. Like, you don't have to like directly be a dick to the person who very clearly traveled to write the story and like has one job to do. It's just like stupid. It's just unnecessary.
Classic LeBron.
What was this last Lakers thing about Bronny?
So yeah, LeBron was asked about Bronny's lack of playing time at USC, I believe, and he had this to say. He could be playing with us right now. Easy. So he thinks his kid, who's not getting minutes at college, and I saw somebody tweet that the team is 500, so very on brand, would be getting minutes with the Lakers. Really? Is that him trying to take shots at his teammates? Now, maybe then.
I was gonna say, I question you. Do you think this is nepotism, or do you think this is Lakers kind of stink?
Both. He's looking over and looking at Thanasis, and he's like, my kid could do that.
I will say, Bronny's playing. He's not playing a ton. He's playing 17 minutes though. That's not bad for a normal freshman. Like, Bronny's not playing terrible.
A normal freshman, yes, but like, not somebody that's gonna go join an NBA team.
No, I think he's fine. I'm not worried about it. He's whatever.
Jack, if you are an NBA prospect in college, you are one of your team's top players. Like
a lot of NBA players.
Competition between the two levels is crazy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of NBA prospects who don't play as much their freshman year because the team is like prioritizing.
Correct. Guys. And you know what happens is they go back for another season after, so they continue to improve before they go to the league. Not, hey, my kid could be playing with us right now easily.
Yeah, I guess that part, but I'm saying I'm trying to separate Bronny from the LeBron legacy. I think like he could use an extra year in college. I think he'll be fine.
Okay, John Smith plays 17 minutes on a 500 college team. Can he join? Can he go into the NBA tomorrow?
I don't know. I'm not talking about LeBron's point. Yes, LeBron's point is the comment is stupid and nepotism. Yeah, I'm talking about Bronny in terms of like I don't think
he's fine as a college freshman.
Sure.
Yeah,
I just okay, that's fine. All right. Does that end our
went through something very traumatic over the summer, by the way?
Yeah, exactly.
This is not a knock on him. It's like
okay. That's all.
Read the room, buddy. Dumbass.
That's all I was
LeBron.
Contextualizing.
Yeah. No. Right. Like. I it's not about his son playing good or bad at college. It's like you're just speaking out of your ass because you're mad at your team.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's check in with the NBA standings. Let's see what's going on around the league.
Lakers not good.
No, we don't have a new has this team won today. However, if we did, it would be the Spurs and the Lakers because they both own the NBA record or the leading the NBA with losing streak at 4 in a row.
I top of the East, the Lakers went on a massive losing streak.
Top of the East is getting shaken up. Celtics and Bucks have both won their last game. Celtics 8-2 in their last 10. Bucks 7-3. Pacers skyrocketing up the standings. They were 14-14. They are now 20-14. Have won 6 games in a row, including 2 games over the Bucks. That's the longest win streak in the NBA, with the Clippers in second at 5 in a row. Pacers have moved all the way up to 4th in the East, although the difference between 4th and 8th is half a game. Pacers, Heat, Magic, Knicks, Cavs. Pacers are 20-14. The Heat, Magic, Knicks, and Cavs all have the same exact record at 20-15. That is crazy. They're all tightly bunched in there. Nets still struggling, 3-7 in their last 10. Bulls pushing up into the play-in race, 6-4 in their last 10. Hawks and Raptors have been bad, and then the bottom of the East is bad. That's what it is. Bad. So there's that.
It's starting to shape up, which makes the trades and the buyouts start to get a little bit all more realistic. Biggest surprises as of now, would have thought the Cavs would be better, but even then they're a half game out of fourth. So
Yeah,
it's really tough to be like this team is further down than we all thought. Like I think the Nets, Bulls might be better than we all thought, actually.
Hawks might be worse than we thought.
Hawks might be worse.
Yeah.
I thought the Nets would be better. But Orlando took a jump, and the Pacers have taken more of a jump than I think we all thought they would, too.
Yeah, definitely. And then out west, Timberwolves 6-4 in their last 10. Thunder 7-3. Nuggets and Clippers both 8-2. Those are the top four. Pretty solidly out west, although the Kings are only one game behind, and the Mavs and the Pels are only one game behind them. Suns turning things around, 6-4 in their last 10. Warriors also turning it around, 6-4 in their last 10. Rockets 4-6. Lakers 2-8. The Jazz, despite losing to the Celtics last night or 2 nights ago, as you're listening to this, they're still 7-3 in their last 10. Grizzlies sort of finding some momentum, 6-4 in their last 10, and then the bottom of the West is, the bottom of the West. There you go. So we got that. Rocket. Cool.
That 7-3 from the Jazz is so weird.
Very
I kind of thought the Jazz could compete, but it's just tough. There's too many teams.
Yeah, a lot going on. Speaking of probably should be competing right now, the Warriors are a mess, despite they're turning it around a little bit. This is per Shams Charania of The Athletic. He put out an article. So after sitting for the final 18 minutes of Thursday night's loss to the Denver Nuggets, which ended in a fucking ridiculous Nikola Jokic buzzer beater, by the way. Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga has lost faith in coach Steve Kerr. The 2021 lottery pick no longer believes Kerr will allow him to reach his full potential. Sources close to Kuminga tell The Athletic. Adding another layer of turbulence to an already complex Warriors season, Athletic later reported that Kuminga and Kerr had a nice chat, and he, quote, loves it in Golden State, blah, blah, blah. And for what it's worth, the Warriors played last night, and he played a season-high 36 minutes after this article came out. So, and they won. They won the game last night where he played that.
Who'd they play?
The Warriors took down.
They beat the Pistons.
NBA box score is bad. They did play the Pistons. Kuminga played 36 minutes. And as much as it shouldn't be a close game, it was a close game. So the context is Kuminga played his season-high minutes in a close game. He put up 11-6.
They're trying to sell him to the Pistons. Yeah. That's why.
Perhaps.
They're like, get ready, buddy. Go get ready to eat some Little Caesars.
Maybe, but yeah, Kuminga not happy.
He does fit into the TPE, Jack.
No, Kuminga. I won't have it. It doesn't make any sense.
All you gotta do is lie to him. Be like, yeah, you'll start.
No.
Just be like, no.
Kuminga. No Kuminga.
It would be cool if he just wasn't like ego man. Like I need to start.
But he is, so no.
This goes into that conversation we have with NBA players where they grow up and play their entire lives as the best guy on the team, and it's tough to adjust and fit into a role that might not be that. I think it was Keith that either sent this in a message or we talked to him on the show, and he was like, yeah, that's the thing with the NBA. These guys, they all do grow up with that in them. And the ones that realize they might not be the guy when they join the league faster will last in the league longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kuminga's not that yet. Not there yet. No Kuminga to the Celtics, so I won't see it in the comments. He's not going to start. All the complaints he's having in Golden State are going to be worse here. No, absolutely not. Next thing we got Jake Fischer, friend of the pod of Yahoo Sports, says Dejounte Murray is the biggest prize in free agency or trade market, this year. Quote, the premier point guard in the market before the February 8th trade deadline is Atlanta's Dejounte Murray. No, a former All-Star whose Hawks have made him widely available, according to league sources, 2 years after trading 3 first-round picks to get him from San Antonio.
That was an awful trade from the jump.
There are questions, to be sure, about whether Murray's fit would be ideal next to another ball-dominant lead like Brunson, as Murray's pairing with Hawks Trae Young hasn't brought the dividends Atlanta once imagined. Yet Murray's 4-year, $114 million extension that begins in 24-25 does make him an intriguing trade target for any team with backcourt questions. We'll see how preemptively front offices move this winter before harsher tax penalties kick into effect next season as part of the NBA's new CBA. Future picks and value contracts such as Murray's might become greater value commodities than league personnel anticipated. Fischer adds that all Hawks players not named Trae Young or Jaylen Johnson are expendable. Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about Dejounte Murray trades on this pod. I don't know where he'll end up, but he's a good asset to have.
Yeah, I agree with Fischer. I don't think it's New York. It's
No,
essentially like, hey, go try and fit in the same thing that you can't fit with Atlanta.
Yeah, right.
It's tough because we talked about this. There are just not a lot of spots around the league where you could be like point guard. You know who could use him is the Spurs.
The Spurs, yeah.
Spurs could use him.
I wrote about that for Spurs Wire.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think the Nets are a good one. I think the Magic that you've mentioned could be a good one. I think the Heat could be the best one, though, unfortunately. I think the Heat would be a really good spot for him.
Sure. Yeah, because he would, like we talked about, he would not have to be the sacrificer. Hero could just play off the ball and they'd be all right.
The question is, do the Heat have enough assets, and would the Hawks accept any trade without?
Hell no, they don't.
Jaime Jaquez. So we'll see.
Jaime Jaquez. I don't know. If I'm the Heat, I'd want him. He's a dog.
Yeah, I'm not. What I'm saying is, would the Hawks? I was saying, would the Hawks accept a trade that doesn't include Jaime Jaquez? And I wouldn't do it if I'm the Heat. Yeah, I don't know where else it would take him though. The Lakers obviously make some sense, but I don't know. Weirdly enough, I think they got Van Fleet. I was gonna say the Rockets if you really wanted to beef that roster up, but Pelicans I think make some sense. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyways, moving on from Dejounte Murray. On a recent pod, we discussed how the Knicks are reportedly not done with trades. Jake Fischer, I believe it was, gave some extra insight into who they could go after. He said it reports that they could go after Alec Burks or Malcolm Brogdon. Both make sense. Brogdon would probably be a bit more of a upside swing for them, or a more talented swing, I should say. Although Burks has been solid this season for the Pistons
up and down.
Struggles. He's not shooting well from the field, but he's taking a lot of threes, and so
yeah.
It is what it is. I'd rather see them go after Brogdon. That seems like a good fit for them. Well,
I'd like them to get no one. I do think if they got Brogdon, it would do a lot to fill the hole left by Quickly's exit, and it would make their move look a little bit more brilliant because you're like, wow, like that was a big concern. Where are they going to get their bench scoring from? And then you get Brogdon, that can help them quite a bit. They've been playing well with OG. They just beat the piss out of Philly. Beat them by 30 in Philly.
Yeah, there's a lot. that is kind of nuts. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what the Knicks can do. They obviously have the assets still in the salary with Fournier, but
I'll say this about the Knicks too. If I was a Knicks fan, I would really like having this be the team that I like support. Like this would be a fun team to root for because they all play really hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good Tibbs team. Like that's kind of Tibbs' thing. They got a lot of guys like Grimes, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, now OG, that are all somewhat good defensive players. Hartenstein is a dog. Anytime we talk about him, he's always on the glass and he plays really good defense underneath too. I would be, without Randall aside, the rest of the team, like that'd be a great team to support. So good on them. They put together a good team.
I am currently emailing or responding to John Smyers on Twitter. Because he
claim your popcorn.
Well, I'll show you in a second. Let me send this phone number, name, and email. He tweeted us this just now. You'll appreciate it. He tweeted us, hopefully me tomorrow, and it's get ready to eat some popcorn butter. And I was like, you fucking won last episode. Dude, pay attention, brother. Sorry. Off the rails. The last NBA thing we got today is from Joe Cowley.
Two things.
We have a couple. We do have two things.
Pascal.
Oh yes, sorry. We'll go to Pascal first. According to Shams yesterday, who took us on a whirlwind, Pascal Siakam was coveted by the Kings. They were the leader. They were going to get him. And then 2 hours later, psych, never mind. They're not going after him.
Kings have no interest.
Yeah, and so now it's looking like Detroit maybe, Golden State maybe makes some sense. I don't know though. The Kings though not anymore. And the speculation that I saw on Twitter was the Raptors said we want Keegan Murray. The Kings said no, and it took them 2 hours to realize we're not getting past that.
So the Pistons.
Mm.
Did you
Please
not
don't.
learn from Blake Griffin? Like that didn't really do a whole lot for you.
Mm.
Yes, like it's a big name. And like I guess you want to get your fans excited because they haven't seen a playoff win in 16 years now, almost. But I know they've been tanking and playing poorly and getting draft picks, but you can't just like mortgage everything for like a guy that's kind of above average. That's a good player.
Mm.
You just got to put a team together. It sucks that they didn't pick the right guys in the draft, but as a small market team there, you just have to build it that way. You can't rely on bringing in talent that way. He's not going to stay if you trade for him. Don't be stupid, please.
Yeah, I don't think that's the wave they should do. I don't think that's what they should be doing.
Pacers though, not the
Mm.
worst. Not the worst idea.
I don't hate the Pacers. I don't hate the Warriors either, for what it's worth. I think they could be good. But now the last NBA thing, apologies for my misspeaking, is Zach LaVine. This is from Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. And he says on the latest on Zach LaVine, keep an eye on Sacramento and Golden State, speaking of, as they battle with inconsistency and tough roster decisions. And then there's always the unforeseen injury that could happen to a team with deep playoff aspirations. In other words, a quiet market today could become a very loud one tomorrow or the upcoming weeks. I actually don't hate either of those teams for LaVine. I like Sacramento more than I like Golden State. But I don't know. I still think my favorite Zach LaVine spot is the Lakers, as much as you probably wouldn't like that. Or maybe
I think I actually like the Kings, and here's why. Malik Monk has been really, really good for the Kings.
Mhm.
Coming off the bench, Zach LaVine is kind of a better Malik Monk. You could slide him in the starting lineup. That type of player could fit into their system, and he could actually contribute to winning by doing the right things that Monk does for that Kings team. Like, they could actually end up winners in this, and they have pieces that they're willing to part with. I'm sure Chicago's not going to be overly picky. They want to get off this contract. And if the Kings do it right, listen, it is a gamble. I don't love LaVine. I don't think he's a changer franchise type guy, but kind of like Detroit, like you have a team that is competitive now, unlike Detroit, but in the same wavelength as Detroit, you have to take your swings because there's not always opportunities to bring in talent. And if you have somebody like him that you might be able to believe in and have help your lineup, you might want to do it.
They also wanted him a bunch of years ago. They offered him a contract, and the Bulls matched it. I don't hate it. I like it.
Bulls.
I like it better than Golden State. All right, let's move on to the rat list here. Would you like to kick us off, Sam?
You do it. I want to take a sip.
All right, I will start. I just had a good one, but I'll start with my bad one because I forgot the good one.
Okay.
Rat list. I don't know if I want to rat list my mom and my sister, but I'll rat list the driveway. So the way my driveway works. Oh, I don't know why I'm at. Oh, thank you. The way my driveway works is it's like wide enough for 2 cars to fit, but like deep enough for 4 cars. So you need to like pull back to let people come in. I don't know why. I think my sister probably had to leave for work this morning, and my mom just doesn't like to park in the back of the driveway. She likes to be up front. But I got home from a game last night, and I couldn't get in the driveway because both cars were fully pulled up. And usually that means my stepdad's car is behind one of them, so I can park right across the street. But no, my stepdad is parked right across the street. And so one of my neighbors who lives across the street, because we have a cul-de-sac across the street, not complained, but I was talking to her when I was getting to my car once. She was like, do you mind not parking? So the way it works, it's like the cul-de-sac, and her driveway is right here. And so if I park right across, it like makes it harder for her to back out, which is like, sure, whatever. And so I had to park way too far away from my house to get in at
And you
like
got home at what? Yeah,
Yeah, like 12:31. And so I'm just like, it was just like the final straw that I was like, what the fuck? Come on. Like, I don't
What you
wanna have
should have
to
did
do
is
all
you
this.
should have just like parked your car the long way, like parallel parked right behind both their cars,
I was so mad.
so they couldn't get out.
Well, no, I couldn't even get in. They were pulled all the way up, so I couldn't even get into my driveway.
That's what I
both our
mean.
cars.
Like you should have just parked on the street behind the driveway.
Yeah, I guess. Then I would be blocking the sidewalk though.
Oh,
So
too
that was
bad.
just some added annoyance when I got home last night. I will say though, my mom, when I woke up this morning, she's like, "I moved your car for you." So it was she did. I don't want to rattle my
Okay.
mom because she moved it this morning. But I was just last night. I got home, I'm like, "What the fuck?" Because I had to walk all the way. It was just
No, there are
annoying.
things like that. Like it's just like the little things that like you're just ready to go to bed, and then there's an extra step in front of
Well,
it, and you
I
just
just
want
wanna
to
get
put
my
your
work
phone
done.
across the room.
Yeah, I just wanted to get my work done so I could go to bed, but it was a little small delay. Small delay. We're good though.
So I want to think of another rat list before I do this one because I'd like to at least have it be towards the end. So I'm
Sure.
gonna filibuster here for a half second to try and
I can
think
go
of
again
it.
if you want.
You have
If you
another
wanna get-
one?
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, I've got
All
some.
right, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I ordered food last night for when I got home. I got some KFC. And I timed it. I was on the train. I'm like, okay, I'll get there, I'll get this. It'll be there when I get there, right? Timed it up, got my food, ordered it, was driving home, and I got a call from DoorDash. And this was I got the messages was like the order's picked up and on the way. I got a call from DoorDash and they go, "There's a problem with your order. We have to cancel it and give you a refund." I was like, "What do you mean you have to cancel it? It says they picked it up already. It says they're heading to me." So I think my DoorDasher just fucking took my food and canceled my order. I got a
Nice W
refund,
by that guy.
but like I got a refund. But I'm
Gotcha.
like, what the fuck are we doing? I was just so mad. I had to like order again when I got home, and I ended up like having to wait when I got. It was just I was so mad. It was again one of those things. I wanted to get home, eat, do my work, do the thing. It just interrupted my whole fucking flow. I was so mad.
There was a time back when I used to work at the news station. So I would work from 4 in the morning to 1 p.m. and I ordered lunch from DoorDash. Now, my driver just never came. And I waited mad long and I was hungry. And it was one of the times like I was like legitimately mad. Like I bitch about stuff all the time, but like I was like actually rageful, like furious because I was so hungry. I was looking forward to my food coming and I just never got it. It was awful. So I completely can understand and feel your pain. I will burn it then. Rat list, bank robbers. So if you live in Rhode Island, you've seen. You know what's great is I just sat here and listened to you tell 2 stories. And as soon as I am talking, then I freeze.
You're here. It was very brief. Yeah, you didn't cut out too much, so you're good.
All right. Well, rat list bank robbers, and if you live in Rhode Island and you actually like pay attention to the news or whatever, you may have seen that in Warwick, my town, or actually city, there was a maybe fatal car accident. So these guys robbed a TD Bank. And we're driving 100 down one of the like roads and hit somebody.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's 2024. Who the hell's robbing banks? Wouldn't you just scam somebody online? Or like do something that way? Like you don't have to even flee the scene. You can just be like, aha, like gotcha, I'm anonymous. I'm on my computer. Instead, like they went so like my boy Frank was at the Chipotle, which is over there. And it was a huge scene, mad cop cars, everything. Somebody got their doors blown off from this. Literally, the doors of the car were blown off.
Jesus.
I can't imagine robbing a bank. Apparently, they took $5,000. You took
Oh my God.
$5,000 from the bank and you did that? Was it worth it? But on the other hand, like imagine robbing a bank. Like that must be so fun for like 10 minutes. Like there might be nothing more fun than robbing a bank for like the first 10 minutes. But then like once you have to try and get away, that's when it's not as fun. But when you're like put the money in the bag and they just give you money for free, you're probably like, this is sick. Like, why does anybody work? Why would I go to work? But no, then they have to flee. So where the TD Bank is, there could not be more like lights. It's a huge intersection. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 different lead-ins to this intersection. So
we picked the worst possible bank to rob.
Correct. Like you have gone through the euphoria of getting the cash from the cashier.
Mhm.
and then you pull out and you have to wait at the red light. Like, disaster. You have to be the dumbest of the dumb. And they definitely had to wait at a red light because the way that they went to get where they got in the accident is required to go through that red light.
Or they just blew the red light.
I guess you're in that deep. You might as well.
Yeah, that's what I don't think
Yeah.
that's the biggest worry of yours.
Like, they didn't know they were going to get the vehicular manslaughter charge, but, like, if you told me, I'd be like, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
did
all in.
they killed somebody?
I don't know
like,
if they
driving?
killed him or not. I'm not going to kill anybody on the show by saying the person died, but I do know it
Jesus,
was pretty serious. Like, I know at least somebody went to a hospital, and
Damn.
multiple friends described it as the worst accident they'd ever seen. So,
Jesus.
sucks. Never want to see anybody get hurt, and definitely ratless to the bank robbers.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of fun to rob a bank for 10 minutes.
That is fucking terrible, dude. Jesus.
Did you look it up?
Yeah, the driver
Yeah.
and 2 juvenile passengers in the car that Magnum hit were brought to the hospital with injuries that don't appear to be life-threatening.
Ooh,
So
they already
everyone seems
ID'd
to
the
be-
driver?
Oh yeah, I said his name. Oops.
Ooh, quick.
But
it doesn't
it
matter.
says
He's on the news.
non-life-threatening injuries. It seems to be. So it seems like everyone's gonna be okay, which is good. Good thing.
That's good.
W. Love that. So my DoorDash story reminded me of another one. So on New Year's Eve, I was with my friend Danny and his friends, and one of them got DoorDash. And it was a situation like you where they didn't show up, and he was telling me a story, and he goes, "Yeah, I ordered DoorDash, and we're in Alston for context, which is, you know where Alston is. I ordered it and I was waiting for it, and then I look up and my Dasher's in fucking Cambridge. Do you know how far and out of the way it is for them? And this was after they picked up the food, and so they got the food and then started fucking driving to Cambridge. And he's like, I can't, like, they gave me a new driver. Like, DoorDash gave him a new driver at that point. And then the new driver, by the way, whose name was Crash, not a name,
Not
just
a good
not
well,
a name.
Also, not a good name for your driver.
DoorDash driver. No,
Like, power rankings of people that I would want picking up my food, everybody else, the bank
Not
robber,
Crash.
and then Crash.
not Crash.
Yeah.
And then Crash again
That or it
just
was
didn't
Neeson.
fucking didn't show up. He was just driving the opposite way on the map of where he needed to be. And so, I mean, he just canceled the order and we walked to McDonald's to get food because we were going anyways. And the best part is the McDonald's we walked to is the McDonald's that they were supposed to pick up his food from.
Oh, you should
It
have
was
just
just-
walked then.
I know, but this was before we all knew we were going out. He was just like, we were hanging out, so he ordered. But anyways, that was a disaster. Anti-Ratless. Have you ever seen New Girl?
Yes.
We played True American, which was
You
very
told
fun.
me about that.
Yeah, it was very
Girlfriend
sick.
Loves New Girl. I haven't
Highly
seen all of
recommend.
New Girl, and I haven't watched it in a while, but it is quality.
It is
That
a
I
good
will
show.
say.
We played the drinking game they played. It was a good time.
Quick rat list is so I did an article for Nuglove, the Nuggets fan-sided site, and it's
Sure.
doing like numbers just because it's like one of those like clickbaity headlines.
Yeah.
And the headline is Steph Curry takes jab at Aaron Gordon because Aaron Gordon played really well against the Warriors, and he was pretty much like, how the hell did we let this guy get 30 points?
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody emailed me, found my personal email from reading that, and was like, hey, I think you misinterpreted that. Like, if you looked me up to find my email, you would have seen, like, I'm not really involved with the Nuggets at all. And, like, I know, like, I'm the site expert and stuff, and I do have a responsibility to the site, and I don't think I, misdid anybody. But, like, I don't care that much. You clicked it. Gotcha. Like, I get it. Like, I deliver. When I do a headline, I always make sure I deliver. I'm fair. But just not
I think subtle jab is fair. I don't remember the last time he had 30. That's a little bit subtle.
Fair.
Like, this guy.
I take subtle jabs all the time.
That is very funny though, that he found your personal email.
Because I saw the email pop up on my phone and I thought it was a show email, and then I realized, I was like, wait a minute.
That is kind of fire. I love that.
You know what the headline of the email should have been? Is I don't have very much time. I have a lot of time on my hands. I'm not very busy.
Oh fuck! I don't have any more Ratless. Do you want to wrap there? Or do you have anything else?
Yeah, we can wrap there. I don't have anything else. What did we record last Wednesday?
Yeah, nothing
Yeah,
much
I
has
haven't really
happened
done
though.
anything.
All right, well, we can close. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. We'll put it at the end of the show because I forgot to do it in the middle. Sam, it's time for C.
Oh,
Who is
Kuzi.
C, Sam? Bingo, Mr. Bob Cousy. There's the super cool illustration. Shout out to my aunt Gaga for
He
getting me
looks
this.
kind of funny as a C.
C is for Bob Cousy. Although he may look like your typical average Joe. They're just like, yeah, look at this white guy. Though you may look like your typical average Joe, Cousy was anything but. He introduced several nasty crossovers, slick moves, and flashy no-look passes to the NBA. The Hall of Famer and Celtics legend led the league in assists 8 times on his way to 6 NBA championships. Shout out Bob Cousy. And shout out my aunt Gaga for getting me.
Cousy, who was part of the broadcast last night, he gave a little shout out to Gorman.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Good for him. That's
little things you miss out on going to the games like a big shot.
All right, eat shit. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics and leave us a review. I did see. I
saw the comment. Yeah, I saw it. I think it was a regular. I forget who it was. Forgive me.
Was it Ryan? Was it Ryan Hall?
It might have been Ryan.
Someone commented that they left us a review on Apple, and I wanted to say thank you. And I'm gonna go read the review on Apple because
you go read the review. I will confirm who it is.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully it's not Ganky.
Also, that was episode 400.
It was, yeah, last night.
Last night. 400 episodes.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, it hasn't showed up on Apple yet. I believe you, but I think it takes some time to process. I just don't see it yet.
UFC Dana White, aka Ryan Hall.
Shout out Ryan
made
Hall.
Apple Pod for y'all.
Shout out Ryan Hall. We'll confirm next pod and we'll read it then, but it hasn't showed up on my end yet. But thank you for the review. And if you do listen on Apple, please leave us a review with 5 stars. We'd appreciate it very much. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll let Sam officially wrap us up.
Hey, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, you're on our YouTube, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any daily uploads. We're putting these kind of pods out, the full-length ones, game recaps. There will be one coming at you again on Tuesday. This is technically a game recap / pod. Big one for you. Then we also have Talking C's with Bobby Kravitsky. Those are a lot of fun. They're coming out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at some point throughout the day. So you want to have the bell on so you don't miss them. We also do film breakdowns, little rumor breakdowns, anything to get us through the off days. You can also, like Jack said, find us on Spotify and Apple. If you are listening there, leave a nice review. Our full-length audio pods and game recaps are available audio only. You can reach out to us via email, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Looking at you, John Smyers. Send us your information so you can get your popcorn, buddy. We read your emails every pod. We did it today, and we really like getting everyone's input. Fans are a big part of what the Celtics do, so everybody's voice should be a little bit important, and we'll tell you if you're smart or not. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The Facebook page is just the name of the podcast. We go live a half hour before every single game, so those streams are on Facebook, they're on YouTube, and they're on Twitter, which is pretty fun. I missed the Twitter aspect of the streams, and now it's back. You can follow Jack's Twitter at JacksMoneyNBA. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on. Taco.